Sarah with Busy Garden Life, and today we are meal prepping for another week, another busy week, and we actually just got back from camping maybe an hour and a half ago. So I am kind of rushing around to get my meal prep for the week. So things this week are going to be a little bit different than I had originally planned in my planning, because I'm going to try and use some of the leftovers from the weekend, and I also need things that I can quickly prep tonight because I'm tired. We're trying to unpack everything still. I need to get dinner on the table for the family, so I'm going to kind of be doing a lot of things at once today. So our menu for this week, we are doing pork shoulder sliders tonight because we have pork left over from last week, and I have another bag of coleslaw that we didn't use this weekend, so I want to use that up. And then tomorrow we're just going to have sloppy joes. Wednesday or Tuesday we're going to do steak fajitas because again I have steak that we cooked over the weekend. We cooked extra so that we had a little bit more, and we're going to use those for steak fajitas this week. Wednesday we're going to do leftovers because my husband's working. Thursday we are doing pan roasted chicken with carrots. Friday's leftover night again, and then Saturday we're doing Patitsio, which is a Greek dish. We use ground lamb, however I'm just going to use ground beef because you can use either one. I have all of the stuff in my pantry and in the freezer, so I could just throw it together. But basically it's supposed to be a Greek dish, ground lamb, kind of like a white sauce with some noodles. I'm using it out of my 30-minute meal book that I love. So again, I always post those links for the books down in the comments so that you always have the links that you could purchase those if you want to and use the recipes, because they're typically foolproof for the kids, and very rarely have I even had a bad one, and the kids love the food I make, and they're easy. Bonus, right? So anyway, I'm going to get started with tonight's meal because it's already 5:30 and I need to get dinner on the table. I have leftover pork shoulder from last week, so all I need to do is warm this up in the microwave. Super easy. So while this is warming up, I am going to cut my Hawaiian rolls in half this way, so we can kind of set the meat on top, and I'm going to make the coleslaw to put on top of the pork. So I'm just going to serve it tonight with chips and dip, just anything. We have some fruit left over, anything that we just kind of had left over from the weekend that I want to throw in as sides. Now, I guess that you're probably not coming back from a camping trip or even a vacation. So what you could do if you're looking for an idea, you could do sliders. We love cheeseburger sliders. You just use ground beef. Add some ketchup and mustard, some pickles, just chopped up really fine, Worcestershire sauce, salt and pepper. You can kind of make that all together in a skillet, put them on the slider buns, and then put some cheese, kind of pop it in the oven till the cheese melts a little bit. On top you could use a little butter, brown sugar. On top of it you could put a little butter and brown sugar topping, kind of brush it on there and put it in the oven, and it makes for a little bit sweeter topping, even though the sweet rolls are pretty sweet in themselves. So you can still do sliders if you have pork shoulder left over because you've done a shoulder. This is a great recipe to keep in mind so that you can use up that leftover pork shoulder as well with some coleslaw. So just a lot of variety there. All right, so I'm going to get going on prepping dinner for tonight and getting that on the table, and then I will come back and finish prepping for the rest of the week with you. Okay, family's fed, and I'm ready to finish prepping for the week. So, kitchen's a mess, and that's just real life, guys. Busy from things, and so I apologize, but you're getting the full kitchen and the mess of camping all week. So now we are on to our sloppy joes. Now I'm home making the sauce for the sloppy joes. You can use a can with the meat. There's nothing wrong with that. I just tend to, I make my ketchup, so I just like to save. Even though it's $1.59 now, I still like to just save and make our own because we have the ingredients on hand. So what I need for that is an onion and a pepper. Now I'm just going to dice these up finely. The recipe for 1 pound of meat calls for 1 pepper and 1 onion. I'm using 2 pounds of meat, but I'm still just using the 1 pepper and onion because I don't think I need any more than that. So I am going to dice these up finely in order to get ready for the sauce, and then I am going to make the sauce portion of it. Now, if you wanted to save time, really save time during the week, you can make it all today and put it in the refrigerator and then just warm it up. Super simple and easy, right? I don't have thawed out ground beef because we just got back, so I just pulled it out. I am going to wait and save and let it thaw so that by tomorrow I should be able to just ground it up in the pan. The vegetables will already be chopped. I can throw them in there, saute them for a little bit with the oil, add the meat, brown it up in there, and then just add my sauce that's already mixed together, and boom, done. I'm gonna serve fries with it, so really that's gonna take even longer, so I have to get the oven going first thing. All right, so I'm just gonna work on chopping these up. All right, and then I am going to go over the sauce with you. So we are going to make the sauce. We need 1 teaspoon, which equals 2 teaspoons because I'm doubling it, of the Worcestershire. And I just got this recipe off Pinterest, and actually it's pretty good homemade recipe. And then 2 teaspoons of sugar. One cup of ketchup. It's supposed to be half a cup, so I'm doubling it, 1 cup. Just remember, all my measurements are double because we double things around here. And this is my homemade ketchup. I am going to post a video of how I make it. I typically make it from my frozen tomatoes. That way it's actually quite a bit easier in my opinion. So if you don't think you can do it because you're too busy, you don't have time, I'm going to show you that yes you can. So we have that, and then to open up a new jar, so add the rest of this in here. And then I need 4 teaspoons of yellow mustard. And that's it. What was that? 4 ingredients? Plus our onion and pepper. 3 and 4. So, I'm just going to take the spoon, mix it together, and here is the sauce for our sloppy joes. So that is done and ready for our weeknight. Again, optional to make it. You could always just use the can if you wanted to. There's nothing wrong with that. Or the packet. Some people use those packets that they have too. Alright, so we have the sauce. I'm going to chop up the veggies. Now while I'm chopping up the veggies, I am going to also chop up the veggies for the rest of the week. So we are also having steak fajitas. We have leftover steak from camping. So that's kind of almost all done. I'm just going to make sure that it's chopped correctly. So with that, I'm going to have another red pepper and an onion to go with it. So we're going to chop up the 2 onions and the 2 peppers. What else do I have this week? We have the pan roasted chicken with carrots Love baby carrots. I don't have to do anything for them. They're done. And then the last thing is the Patitsio, or however you want to say it. That does require an onion, so I'm going to do an onion. And it also requires garlic. Now, I don't have enough garlic in my leftover little container, so I am going to be chopping up the whole bulb and putting it in here for later. So it requires 6 cloves. Now typically, it's another thing people ask me is like, well, if it says 6 cloves and I'm doing the whole bulb, how do I know how much to actually put in there? So usually I do about 1 teaspoon for 1 bulb. All right, now that might be a little bit more. Not 1 bulb, I'm sorry, 1 clove of garlic. So that might be a little bit extra, but we also like a lot of extra garlic. So for us, the 1 teaspoon per clove. So I would use, 5 to 6 teaspoons, depending on how it looks in my recipe when I go to use it. So that's my measurements. It's not to say that that's yours. You can always just chop up 1 clove or 6 cloves and see how much you put in there in the container, and just kind of note for yourself that way. So that's an option. So anyway, I am going to get going. We are going to chop all of this up real quickly, and then I will meet you back to what's for the rest of the week. Okay, that is it for the veggies. Now you'll notice that with the green pepper and 1 of the onions, I used my chopper. I did that because it said it wanted it finely chopped. So whenever there's a finely chopped, I use my chopper because that way it gets it a lot more and it's less time. Plus I had the chopper out for the garlic anyway. So, and then I just had strips for the fajitas and then a diced onion for the pasta dish. And my garlic. So that is it for the vegetables already. Super easy there. And now we will move on to our meat portion. All right, so all I have really, I have the steak fajitas. These are, most of them are already cut from the kids, so I'm just gonna go through and trim off the rest of the fat and slice up the rest of them into strips. Now, if you don't have leftover steak in order to make the fajitas, you can easily just pull out a steak and slice it up and get it ready so that you can either just throw it on a pan and do sheet pan fajitas, or you can put it in a pot, or in a skillet, and you can just warm up the fajitas at that point in time and do the steak and the onion and pepper as well. You could use chicken instead of steak. You could use shrimp instead of steak. I love fajitas because they're very versatile. Even with the tortillas, if you are a keto diet, there's keto tortillas out there. There's low carb tortillas. Corn tortillas are great for gluten-free people. So I love fajitas because it kind of, you can pick and choose what you want and how you want to make them to fit your family's lifestyle. So you can always do this even if you don't have the leftovers, but just think about if you are making steak and you want to repurpose the leftovers throughout the week, fajitas are great. All right, so we just have our last 2, the pan roasted chicken. Now, I typically will cut this up into smaller pieces and get them ready, but it is solid frozen because I just pulled it out. We just got back today. So unfortunately, I can't cut that up. That is gonna be something that I'm gonna have to do the day of. I also realized that I'm missing a shallot for it. So actually what's gonna happen is I'm probably going to change this recipe out for the end of the week on Saturday, and we're gonna do the pasta Patitsio dish on Thursday because I have all the ingredients for that. So just also keep in mind that things change, and there are times where if you forget an ingredient, don't feel like you have to run to the store to get it. Maybe change it out for a different night of the week to help yourself and make things a lot easier on yourself, all right? So we're just gonna put this in a bowl and let it thaw in the refrigerator, and then I'm also gonna have my last thing of ground beef for the last pasta dish. So we're gonna put the 2 ground beef in a bowl in the refrigerator, the chicken. I'm gonna cut the steak up and we are done for this week. So super easy meal prep this week. Just being mindful of using some of your leftover meats and things that you have, not just from camping, but maybe just from, doing things over a weekend, or knowing that you have a busy week coming up. When you're planning your meals out for the month, just knowing that, all right, I might make a little extra one day just so I have this for the following week to make my life easier. It's all about planning ahead and prepping ahead to make that busy life not so busy. All right, so if you enjoyed the video, please subscribe and like the page so you can get all of the meal prepping videos. We are also going to be starting more canning and preserving as we go. I mentioned something about ketchup. I do have frozen tomatoes in the freezer that I have to use up before the summer comes and more get filling the freezer, so stay tuned. I'm going to show you how I can make ketchup and how you can make ketchup even if you feel like you don't have time for it. And we will kind of continue to keep you up to date on our garden and all of the other things on the homestead.